It was a hot summer day. Coo, a thirsty crow, was looking for water everywhere. Finally, he found a pitcher. But to his dismay, there was little water in it. Though the pitcher was high enough and Coo had a narrow neck, still he failed to drink from it. Coo was about to give up when an idea struck him. Picking up some small pebbles lying around, he dropped them into the pitcher one by one. With each pebble, the water rose a little higher until at last it was near enough to the brim. Coo smiled to himself and happily quenched his thirst. It was a hot day in the countryside. Timmy, an ant, were searching for some water. After walking around for some time, she came to a spring, but Timmy had to climb up a blade of grass to reach the spring. Just as she started to climb, she slipped accidentally and fell in the water. Timmy struggled hard to stay afloat and prevent herself from drowning. She looked around for help, but there was no one. At that very moment, Timmy was spotted by Dovey, the dove. Dovey immediately plucked a leaf from a tree nearby and threw it on the waterbed near Timmy. Timmy managed to get on the leaf and find his way towards the riverbank to safety. Timmy looked at Dovey and thanked him for saving her life. Just then, a hunter nearby, hiding below a tree, was about to shoot Dovey. To save her friend's life, Timmy immediately bit him on the heel. The hunter missed his shot, and Dovey, thanking Timmy back, quickly flew off to his nest. Simon, a poor woodcutter, used to cut trees in woods. One day, he was cutting wood on the bank of a river. Just then, his axe fell into the river. No matter how much he tried, he could not get a hold of the axe. He sat on the bank of the river, weeping. The goddess of water appeared. She asked the reason of his weeping. Simon narrated the entire incident, still in tears. Then Mercury dived into the water, trying to console him. She instantly brought him a golden axe. Simon refused to take it as it did not belong to him. Mercury dived into the water and brought a silver axe. Simon did not take it either. Then she brought an iron axe, which indeed belonged to Simon. He recognized it at once and immediately accepted it. Mercury was very pleased at his honesty and rewarded Simon with the other golden and silver axes. There is no doubt that honesty is. Sly, the fox, and Petty, the stork, were on visiting terms and seemed very good friends. Sly invited Petty to dinner one day, but for a joke, put nothing before her but some soup in a very shallow dish. Sly easily lapped up the soup to his heart's content. But Petty could only wet the end of her long bill in it. "I am sorry," said Sly. "The soup is probably not in your fate." "No need for apologies," said Petty. "I hope you will return this visit and come and dine with me tomorrow." Sly accepted the invitation and headed for Petty's place the next day. When they were seated at table, Sly found that the dinner was contained in a very long-necked jar with a narrow mouth, in which he could not insert his snout. As Petty finished her meal, Sly sat there starving. He indeed learnt his lesson the hard way. One bad turn deserves another. Rammy, the shepherd, loved his cattle. He used to take them for their daily walks up the mountain. One such clumsy morning, he thought of playing a prank on the villagers nearby. He shouted "Wolf" and cried for help. His voice echoed across the hills. Suddenly, a few locals from the village nearby turned up. Rammy burst out into laughter. The villagers, angry at his prank and mischief, walked away. But danger awaited him next day. It was a sunny morning, and Rammy had come up the hill as usual. After an hour, suddenly, there was a panic among the sheep. A wolf had indeed turned up that day to Rammy's dismay. Rammy, terrified, started shouting for help, but none responded this time. Rammy ran for his life. Having learnt his lesson, lying can invite even more trouble. Rammy, the shepherd, loved his cattle. He used to take them for their daily walks up the mountain. One such clumsy morning, he thought of playing a prank on the villagers nearby. He shouted "Wolf" and cried for help. His voice echoed across the hills. Suddenly, a few locals from the village nearby turned up. Rammy burst out into laughter. The villagers, angry at his prank and mischief, walked away. But danger awaited him next day. It was a sunny morning, and Rammy had come up the hill as usual. After an hour, suddenly, there was a panic among the sheep. A wolf had indeed turned up that day to Rammy's dismay. Rammy, terrified, started shouting for help, but none responded this time. Rammy ran for his life. Having learnt his lesson, lying can invite even more trouble. Once there lived Cinderella, a teenage girl who had lost both her parents when she was very young. She was left to the care of her stepmother and stepsisters who were mean to her. One day the king of that country gave a ball to which all ladies of the land were invited. Though all her stepsisters went for it, Cinderella was left behind. When they were gone, Cinderella cried bitterly, but then her godmother, a good old fairy, appeared. She waved her magic wand and transformed her into a beautiful princess. The fairy found a pumpkin nearby and touched it with her wand, turning it into a grand coach. Cinderella set off as the fairy warned her to return before midnight, else the spell will break, and her attire will transform into that of the rugs. In the ball, everyone was enchanted by her beauty. She danced with the prince merrily. But as the clock was about to strike 12, Cinderella was reminded about her pledge to the fairy, and she rushed out of the ball. In a hurry, she dropped her glass slipper. The prince, surprised, noticed the glass slipper. He longed to meet her again, and felt sure that no one else in his kingdom would wear such a tiny slippers but she. After a long search, the prince finally found her, surprised but delighted at the same time. He asked her if she would marry him. Cinderella agreed at once. Cinderella was married to the prince in all grandeur, and they lived together happily ever after.